Digimon Seekers, Chapter 4, Part 2. Lugamon leapt into the cloud of smoke the damaged caldera belched out and reappeared on the other side, next to Airdramon. "You really saved us there, Airdramon," AG chirped with relief. "Thanks, old man," Lugamon added. "You two, taking on an entire Digipolice unit? You don't know the meaning of fear, do you?" Marvin said with a mixture of exasperation and admiration from the little window in the corner of AG's virtual monitor. "Here's the deal with Satsuki. The commander over there, I mean," AG began, as he shared his data on Satsuki with Marvin and Airdramon. "Okay, so she's piloting that big beefy mechanoraman. Ah, she's the deputy squad leader you sent packing," Marvin said, perusing her stats and assessing the threat. "And she means business today. Her personality's done a complete 180 compared to when I ran into her during the SOC entrance exam." "Yeah, I can tell. No ordinary mind linker can command an entire company of commandramon," the songsmith said with a heavy sigh. "So you're saying she's stronger than you?" "I definitely don't have the concentration to command all those units, I'll say that much." "Hey, you guys in position or what?" Marvin shouted into the SOC leader's chat. He opened up the schematic of the area to get a better look and saw that they were. "Commandramon have a basic camouflage feature, so stay sharp and try to avoid getting ambushed. Remember, our target is this Digipolice platoon. Keep them off Tartarus's back and out of his business." AG led the mission briefing from Koski's safe house. The plan was broken into 2 phases. Phase 1. Incite an attack on the gateway among the codecrackers and Digimon living in the wall slum. Phase 2. Wait for the Digipolice to mobilize and draw them off, forcing them to fight along 2 simultaneous fronts. AG's role in Phase 1 was to incite the wall slum citizens to attack. In Phase 2, they correctly assumed it would come down to a fight between Yulin and Kosuke in their mega forms. That left the remainder of the SOC leadership with the task of occupying the remaining Digipolice forces. AG now recognized Yulin as the officer he passed by as he left DDL, and he could tell she had something to work out with Kosuke. When he moved, she moved. That was between them, however. All AG had to do was ensure that the Digipolice didn't interfere with the cracking of the gateway and the push to reach the depths. No matter how much the fight between these 2 legendary dragons rocked the skies above. "Old Man Tartarus and Doragoramon will take care of the Digipolice's top brass. We just have to worry about keeping the Digipolice and the gatekeepers in check, right?" AG asked. "That's right. As long as the Crossroads Witch is in play, we won't be able to focus on cracking the gateway," Marvin replied, referring to Yulin by her one-time hacker. Or was she a code cracker, AG wondered, alias? "Then I'll leave 'em to it. Lugamon and I," AG said as he turned to face the commandramon units. "AG and I will take the fight to these pests." "Let's do this, Lugamon. Digivolve!" Lugamon promptly digivolved into their champion form, Lugarmon. "Flame blow!" Lugarmon's tail flicked to one side as the beast, covered in shimmering flames, leapt diagonally and slammed into the commandramon unit's flank. Marvin watched Lugarmon take off like a shot and issued his orders to the SOC leaders. "Everyone get after those commandramon." The other SOC leaders rushed to AG's aid. Marvin activated a small army of bot-controlled Espamon. Though they were merely rookies, they had flight and camouflage capabilities, making them ideal for sowing chaos and confusion on the battlefield without demanding a lot from the tool suite that deployed them. Marvin immediately sent them flying into the horde of gatekeepers and ordered them to open fire. The gatekeeper horde swirled around, shimmering like a coiling snake, as they attempted to course-correct and account for this new threat. Marvin's Espamon just as quickly turned tail and sped off, drawing the horde's attention. An Espamon exploded here and there as they drew the horde directly over the Digipolice's commandramon unit. "Oh, you've really done it now, Songsmith," Satsuki shouted, clicking her tongue in disapproval as the gatekeeper horde suddenly descended on her unit. Marvin's Airdramon hung back behind the main SOC forces, delivering orders with a commanding view of the battlefield, just as Satsuki did for Yulin. "So we're on the same page, then?" "Fire!" Satsuki yelled. "Twinkle!" The twinkle beam erupted from the linear lens on the mechanoramon's torso, with its signature sound, mowing down the gatekeeper horde. The rest of the Digipolice force launched anti-air attacks at the same time, dropping the gatekeepers out of the air like so many hunters dropping a flock of slow-moving turkeys. But that was enough. The distraction worked and left them open on the ground. Lugarmon continued pounding the forces on the ground, decimating the right flank in no time at all as they worked their way into the heart of the Digipolice's army. Keep going, Lugarman, AG said, encouraging his partner. Like I was going to stop. Lugarman shot back as they leapt from one commandramon to the next, their claws tearing through body armor and sending the units flying through the air in their wake. There's a mechanoramon up ahead. That one's a platoon commander class, Lugarman said, eyeing the mechanoramon commanding the 50-troop strong commandramon force on the left flank. Think you can hit it from here? It's in range, Lugarman said, leaping into the air. Howling burner! They barked, unleashing a torrent of flame that scorched the commander mechanoramon below. Left flank's firepower dwindling. Ugh! Satsuki fumed as the direct hit to the commanding mechanoramon lit up her display. Lugarman torched the left flank's mechanoramon and continued to romp through the lines of troops beyond, charging ever deeper into the Digipolice's ranks. The commandramon were fiercely loyal, however, and held their ground in the face of such terrifying power. Not a single one abandoned its position, and they fell back and regrouped. AG's dangerous, Satsuki said quietly as she readied her next order. She had 2 aces up her sleeve, and it was time to use them. Deputy Squad Leader Tamahime, one barked. Ready to move on your order, the other added soon after. We'll stop them here. Tachibana, Sakurada, hit that Lugarman with everything you've got, Satsuki yelled. The 2 units sprung into motion a second later. Lugarman broke through the last of the commandramon troops' defenses and began tearing up the rim of the caldera. The once stalwart left flank was now in complete disarray, its mechanoramon commander scorched from chest to shoulder in flames that continued to burn. Did you take it out? No, that was just a surface-level burn. The shot wouldn't render the mechanoramon incapacitated, but it definitely left the left flank weakened. AG surveyed the battlefield through Lugarman's eyes. The first thing he saw was the bitter fight between Yulin and Kosuke in the skies above the gateway. Whoa, is that Doraemon's megaform? So that's what Tartarus's Digimon looks like when it's at full power. The other, of course, was Uryamon, Ryudamon's megaform. We've got to do something about that Uryamon, or else we'll never have a shot at cracking the gateway. That's going to be tricky anyway, considering the gatekeepers, the other Codecrackers Digimon, the Wall Slum Digimon, and the Digipolice forces are all mixing it up down here. For now, though, we've only got one mission. Protect Tartarus's Dorogoramon, which for the moment meant letting their fight with Uryamon play out. Doraemon and I will emerge victorious. So long as we're one-on-one, I won't lose to Yulin, Kosuke had said at the end of the mission briefing. He didn't reveal why he was so sure he'd win, but Eiji didn't think he was bluffing and decided to take him at his word. Should I digivolve one more time? Lugarman wondered aloud, looking at the fight the Codecrackers and Wall Slum Digimon were giving to the gatekeepers. It looked like there was a chance to tip the scales. He thought back to the explosive jump in power digivolving afforded Digimon. Very few Codecrackers and hackers in the world could control a Digimon in its megaform. One would have to be a double S-class mind linker to even establish a connection with a mega-level Digimon. I definitely want to know what it's like to hit that level of power, and I will. I will get on Kosuke's level. Eiji could at last picture, however faintly, the path forward, one that would lead him to the pinnacle of mind-linking skill. What did it even take to become an elite mind linker in the first place? Professor Ryusenji's love of Digimon. Kosuke's trust in Digimon too, sure. Ultimately, though, it required perseverance. It took 10, maybe even 20 years of practice. Courage, grit, accountability, and dedication. A willingness to put your life on the line for the digital world. Everyone wanted something different out of this. The Codecrackers wanted to take their chances in the depths. Leon and the hackers wanted to see justice served. Yulin and the police wanted order upheld. Professor Ryusenji wanted to become the definitive authority on the digital world. Eiji, however. But right now we've got to crack the gateway and find Leon and Pulsemon. Eiji's sudden burst of inspiration was cut short by a surprise volley of gunfire from both sides that made Lugarman double back to avoid getting hit. They swung their head left and right, but couldn't see the enemy. They knew they hadn't been shot by invisible enemies. Someone was hiding. Hit them with Howling Burner, Lugarman. Oh yeah? In which direction exactly? All 360 degrees. Not a bad idea, actually. Lugarman shot straight up into the air, twisting as it vomited a jet of fire in a perfect circle, creating a ring of fire on the ground below. Lugarman dropped right back into its center. They're camouflaged! Eiji shouted, as Marvin's note about commandramon having basic camouflage capabilities came screaming back into his mind. Their textures probably functioned like the protective coloring on a chameleon in an attempt to blend in with their surroundings. There you are, Lugamon shouted. They charged toward a section of the flame wall that shimmered ever so slightly out of step with the rest of the surroundings, giving away the outline of a Digimon. The shape, no, two shapes, deftly dodged Lugarmon's charge. They deactivated their camouflage, revealing themselves and preparing for battle. Ha! Two rookie commandramon think they can take down the demon wolf of the Castle of Nine Wolves? Don't make me laugh. Lugarmon snarled, launching a rather lazy attack they thought was sure to make quick work of the pair. The commandramon stepped out of the way of Lugarmon's claws and swung the butts of their rifles around into Lugarmon's jaw. Ah! Lugarmon was briefly stunned. Two rookie commandramon holding their own against them. These two aren't like the others, Eiji shouted. Eh? Aha! Lugarmon ran a quick scan, which turned up an ML flag. Mind linkers! No sooner had Lugarmon and Eiji arrived on the same mental page than the two commandramon began glowing with the light of Digivolution once more. In their place now stood even more fearsome commandramon, bulkier and better equipped than before. They still resembled bipedal carnivorous dinosaurs, but they'd definitely grown and paid a visit to the armory. High Commandramon, Champion, Android, Virus. These Digimon still wore full-body armor, but now sported helmets that protected their entire head and carried riot shields. Lugarmon was now in a 2-on-1 fight with two champion-level mind-linked opponents. Howling Burner! Lugarmon spewed another column of flame at their foes. One of the High Commandramon absorbed the hit head-on with its shield. Clearly, they were rated for extreme temperatures. The High Commandramon in the rear shot out from behind its partner and dashed toward Lugarmon, closing the gap with alarming speed. The High Commandramons raised its club, and Lugarmon just managed to raise its arms to absorb the blow. Sparks flew, and Eiji's eyes stung from the light. His video feed wobbled, as if it were being jammed. Lugarmon leapt backward and regrouped. Is that club electrified? Eiji yelped as he initiated a scan. The results confirmed his suspicions. It was a stun baton. I still feel all tingly and dizzy. Look out, Lugarmon! Eiji shouted, watching the other High Commandramon. It planted its shield on the ground and slotted its firearm into a cutout on the left side of the shield, instantly turning it into a sturdy rifle stand. But upon closer inspection, it hadn't jammed a rifle into its shield. No, this had a drum magazine attached to it just behind the barrel. It was a grenade launcher. DCD grenade! Thunk, 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 went the rapid-fire upgrade of the Commandramon's DCD bomb. Anyway Lugarmon jumped, they were sure to be hit by an explosion or shockwave. Lugarmon tanked a couple hits from shrapnel as they fled to relative safety. Eiji was cut off from Marvin and the others now. Satsuki, meanwhile, used the time her High Commandramon bought her to completely regroup her left flank. Whatever happened, Eiji could not allow her to assist Yulin in her airborne fight against Dorogoramon. The entirety of Phase 2 hinged on that battle going the SOC's way. Now, Eiji and Lugarmon gave themselves over to one another so completely it felt as though they were breathing in sync. We have to help our friends. Nothing more needed to be said. This was all for Eiji's first friend. Eiji expressed his intent. He already knew Lugarmon would agree. The light of Digivolution visited upon them once more. It's time to find Leon and Pulseman, deep inside the digital world. They were perfectly in sync now, their skills honed to perfection. Nothing, not even in the depths of the digital world, would stand in their way. Lugarmon, Digivolving Eiji. They put to rest all the regrets for the things they hadn't done. From here on out, there was no straying from the path of hope and possibility before them. The gateway rumbled with the suggestion that some quantum fluctuations were occurring in the digital world. Two beings, now one, shone with the light of Digivolution. They had the power to change the world and would see it changed. They would open the door to all that was possible. They did not seek to win, nor did they desire the strength to emerge victorious. What would they even do with such power if they had it? We have to help our friends. Why, even the simplest of things. They knew what they wanted, and they would risk their lives for it. Eiji and Lugarmon now thought as one. There was no turning back now. The light of Digivolution would guide them forward, ever forward. Let's go, Eiji. Tartarus, Kosuke? Another voice, this one over a chat channel. Eiji looked up at Dorogoramon. The Digimon was working harder than ever to evade Uryumon's fierce attacks. Come on, Eiji, Lugarmon, achieve your ultimate form. Now's the time to start your journey. Someone was encouraging them, spurring them on to greater heights. Kosuke. It was Kosuke, in the midst of his life and death struggle, reaching out from one mega level to another. Eiji took his words to heart. Where there's a will, there's a digivolution. This time, they were ready to handle the power. Lugarmon, digivolve! As the light faded, a bipedal, more humanoid than not dark beast came into view. It bore a lupine face, reminiscent of an ancient deity. Its chest, arms, legs, and tail were covered by protective plating. Its hands bore 5 fingers like that of a human. In its right hand, it held a massive mace, fashioned after a wrench. Upon each of its shoulders rested massive cylinders, rumbling like mighty engines and wreathed in flame, generators that produced fire energy with perfect efficiency. Energy forced through the small slit in the undersides of the cylinders formed jets that suspended the Digimon in the air. This was a far cry from Helugarmon, the beast whose hellfire left it a shambling beast composed of charred bone. No, this creature bore fire the color of the sun, a demon wolf in its ultimate form. It took a breath. All shall burn. End of Chapter 4, Part 2.